Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw Green Bean. Damn it.
But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of it, is the people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does it a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Ding, 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 ding. Welcome to South Park. No, sorry. Welcome to Jets Talk. Talking Jets. Well, words are hard. Welcome to Talking Jets. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my lovely co-pilots. I have Mr. Green Bean to my this way. I've got Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Green Bean, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Every day that we get closer to the draft gets me in a better mood. I can't wait. I'm ready. I'm ready to see what our new regime looks like in the most important day or weekend of the entire season for the New York Jets. So I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
O'Leary, how about you? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk some draft stuff with you guys. We had some quotes from our head coach and GM this week, so a lot to get into.
Boys and girls, if you're just tuning in here, make sure you hit that like button for us. For every 25 likes we get on this video, someone's going to win something. At the end of the show, we're going to pick some qualifiers. Someone's going to get picked. And we did change the spin wheel a little bit. There are some more normal things on here. We got shirt, hat. We left the eggs because we know that's probably valuable.
Not gonna work.
Guys. Yeah, probably worth it. But yeah, someone's gonna win something at the end of the show. All you gotta do is hit that like button, get yourself qualified. For every 25 likes we get, we're gonna pick someone. Yeah, we got a whole lot of stuff going on. We Green Bean, we missed you last week. We had Dom step in for a little bit, talked a little draft, did a little mock draft. I think maybe tail end of tonight, that 9:30 to 10 o'clock, maybe we'll do another mock draft, kind of give it some thoughts. We could talk about what we did last night. Dom and I had Dre Keaton, safety out of Temple, on the Talkin' Jets show, and then we followed that up with a mock draft, which themed was we had to trade one of our big three. It was Quinnen, Sauce, or Garrett. I didn't wind up seeing who you guys ended up trading. What was your determination on your mock draft?
Oh, it was incredible. We traded Sauce. It was very close. It was like 1% or whatever it was, something like that. I forget. But we traded Sauce to the Niners for pick 11. Then we had a trade offer from the Eagles to slide back to 32 with 7. So we did that. We got a first next year. We got an extra second and third. This year, it was an incredible night. We changed the trajectory of the New York Jets for 2 millennia. Last night. It was amazing.
We wound up moving on from Quinnen. Although Dom and I did kind of agree. Sauce was probably the one that would get traded of the three. If you really had to like hammer it down and be super critical on things.
Yeah.
But
it
man,
sucks
that was
to
like
trade
the
any
worst.
of them.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks to trade any of them. But when you look at, like a new regime, people are like, oh, this is unrealistic, right? Or, I got all kinds. I had to start the stream by yelling at everybody. They came in. They're like, we're not voting. Danger zone. He's a pussy.
Dano.
There's a pussy.
Oh, no.
I had to tell them all. I'm like, dude, first of all, Parcells came here. What did he do? Right? He stayed for a minute. He got rid of Neil O'Donnell. He got rid of Adrian Morrell. He traded Hugh Douglas. Mangini comes here. What does he do? He gets rid of Abraham. He turns him into Mangold. He traded Jonathan Vilma. Turned him into David Harris. You know what I mean? Like, it happens. It's
Rex
not
got
me.
rid of
I
Kerry
didn't want to do
Rhodes.
it, but it happens, right, man?
Mm-hmm. I mean, heck, we saw it with Jamal Adams and him getting shipped off. New regimes do flip players that teams love. And especially when the financial side of things come into things, it does start to get a little interesting. Now, Sauce is an interesting one because he's got the 2 All-Pros. I think last year being a down year has some people, maybe a little soured, but I would hope people don't give up on him after the 1 year. But I will say this, the whole him having a down year the same year that our D-line also wildly regresses, and also combining that with the Eagles game last year where we had 2 backup cornerbacks playing and the D-line was feasting and they looked good. Like, it does get you a little concerned about like shelling out $30 million a year. Now, granted, the player and like the person that Sauce is exactly the type of person you'd want to pay and mentality. But I could certainly see a world where, someone gets moved.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't like to think about it and don't think it's crazy likely, but I don't know. We have no idea what Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji think of these guys and how they want to build out their roster. I would assume they'd want to keep Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, but the reality is we don't know.
And
especially
we like
when you're
pissing off the
talking about
chat.
$35 million. You know what I mean? 35 million. That's a lot of money, guys.
Oh, yeah. And we're not necessarily known for, like, paying our own. We're pretty bad at it, actually. Although we haven't really drafted well in a while. Like, these are probably the first guys, aside from Quinnen. Like, Quinnen's the first-round Jet to get a second contract since Muhammad Wilkerson's. It's been a minute, for sure. I just want to say, I don't know if Kyle is watching, but Kyle, if you're watching out there, it was very nice meeting you today. Met him at work. Had a little Jet lanyard hanging out of his pocket, and I was like, what do you think about our Jets? And he's like, I recognize you. I was like, oh, hi, Kyle. He's like, yeah, I watch you guys on Tuesdays. So if you're in here, Kyle, hello. We had the owners meeting recently, and we got to hear a little bit from Woody Johnson and the coaches and all that good stuff. Woody Johnson seems to be upset that he was rated last in the league in terms of what was it, happiness factor? What was the metric that it was?
Being a good person.
Yeah, he sucks. Sorry. I don't know. Woody Johnson just. I think the ranking was earned because it's a poll of the players, isn't it? Isn't that how they judge
NFL Players Association. He received an F grade, or the Jets did for ownership, that portion. So that reflects directly on Woody Johnson. And he said, quote, "It's totally bogus," which whatever that means.
Great. Absolutely solid. What else happened this week? I'm like drawing a freaking blank. I feel like I'm coming into this show blind right now. What did we do?
You have a million clips from SNY Jets if you want to look at what was said from Aaron Glenn this week. He once again put Brian Costello and Rich Damini in a locker, just stuffed them right in there and took their lunch money. And I gotta say, it's not getting old. I think I enjoy it each time it happens. He's not afraid to push back on and not that they were pushing him hard, but he just comes across as much more firm than what Robert Saleh was.
Yeah, more of a I'm not gonna take any of this bullshit. Like, I know how to handle the New York media. He's a seasoned vet for the New York stuff, which is a breath of fresh air after last 4 years or 3.5 years we had of Saleh. Let's see, I'm just scrolling back a little bit. I got Muji. Pull it up so we can all kind of like take a look at this. Why did this button not work? What is going on here?
Oh,
there we go. All right. Boom. I should really prep this prior to coming up.
You're all right.
I was waiting for it to pop up.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I had to jump over here so I just frame it the right way. Let's make sure I actually have some audio capture. Whoa, what happened? Where'd it go?
Oh, I like the gray box.
What the heck? All right, hold on. We're gonna try this again. I'm gonna pull up Richard's super chat while I try to figure this out. Richard says, at first I was concerned with letting DJ Reed walk, but after hearing Aaron Glenn talk about having 2 big athletic corners, I can see AG has a plan. Matt, I want to throw it to you first. Thoughts on Richard's comment?
I understand why maybe you're a little concerned about letting a number 2 corner like DJ Reed walk. Like, I know things didn't end great for him here, but he was a really good corner for the Jets as a starter for 3 years overall, and one of the better free agency signings over the last, 5-10 years or so. But to me, I was kind of expecting that to happen. I just thought he was going to get a nice chunk of change hitting the market. Detroit ends up paying him. The thing that I was maybe surprised with was them pivoting and paying Brandon Stevens a little bit more than I thought they would pay a number 2 corner and someone coming off the down year that he had. But I think Richard's right that he likes the athleticism at cornerback. Stevens, even though he is coming off a down year, he is someone who has a lot of the physical tools and is usually right around the ball, but just unfortunately struggles to find it. And I'm kind of hoping that this is something that Aaron Glenn and the defensive staff can help improve and maybe scheme them in a better situation than what he was with in Baltimore a year ago.
Bean, what are your thoughts on the on DJ Reed and letting him walk, and AG's comments on having big athletic corners?
Yeah, well, I think I don't think it's like, look, we could have maybe kept him, but you would have had to, it would have had to been a severe overpay, right? Now, not really the best way for a new regime to start, coming in, like, it's like the McCagnon plan. He just said, look, I'm going to I got a bunch of money. I'm going to spend every dollar of it. I'm going to get the biggest names I can in the whole thing and overpay. And, if you make the Super Bowl or something like that, that kind of stuff, nobody forgets. I mean, nobody cares. Everybody forgets about it. But DJ Reed wanted to go. He talked about it toward the end of the season and right after the season. I'm ready to spread my wings and test free agency. And he wanted to get out of here, man. And you can't blame somebody. It was a crazy place. We heard, look, we're Jets fans, and we like to believe that a lot of the stories are baloney and it's Jets hate and all that stuff. And that is out there. That's definitely true. Evidenced by, what was his name? The Vikings guy, just for Jared Allen or some. He retires from the Vikings and he says, and the Jets suck. It's like, what do we ever do to you? You know what I mean? It's like, why are you doing that? And, so it's definitely out there. But at the same time, the truth is that when you look at our organization, it's a slapdick organization. Like, we had Aaron Rodgers here. We had Devontae. Devontae Adams was here 1 week and had to do a big speech for the team on how to win, right? We've heard, the bogus reports about our facilities and all that kind of stuff. We know that at least one player was severely food poisoned by the New York Jets, right? We have that kind of stuff. But we hear all this stuff, all these stories come out. And look, guys leave the Jets and they go like, look, how many times we saw over the last couple of years, numerous players like mid-season, the New York Jets and said player decided to mutually part ways. Like, what is all of that? Like, so when a guy wants to leave, in order to keep him, if a guy's miserable, in order to keep him, you're going to have to grossly overpay. DJ Reed wanted to go, man. This was the first free agent period in his career where he was looked at in the light of, hey, a premier starting cornerback in the NFL. He was going to get paid. He did get paid. And it would have had to be more to keep him. So, like, we knew that was going to happen. Now, the idea that I can see that AG has a plan, I'll tell you what, Richard, he better have a plan. Him and Muji better have a plan. And I think I think we got to give him that benefit of the doubt. Like, I like DJ Reed. I would much rather have seen us be able to come back with Reed, Sauce, and Michael Carter II as our defensive. That would have been really, really great. But it's unlike, like those kinds of things. It's impossible to keep everybody. You see the great teams, the Ravens, the Steelers, and so forth. They lose players every year. You got to be able to replace them. And I think it's just part of the deal. And what we really got to focus on, like Matt brought up about, Aaron Glenn kind of, letting Samini, just the whole thing going on. And Aaron Glenn also said, and we might even watch the clip, look, man, we do draft grades all the time, and I really don't give a shit about draft grades. I don't care about offseason grades. The team that has the best offseason rarely does anything, evidenced, by us. Hello, how you doing? That's us. He says it's what happens in the season. So, look, they got a plan. We don't know. They could fall on their face, and they could suck like every other regime that we bring in here. But let's make one thing clear. The last 4 years, we haven't developed one offensive player, and we needed, 7 first-round picks on the defensive line to really produce what we needed to produce. The defense was packed full of premium talent, and it's time. If it's time to just kind of shed all this, what we're used to, the big name free agents and all the kind of stuff. And let's just trust these guys. Aaron Glenn is a cornerback. I'm sure he liked DJ Reed plenty, but look, he's gone. I know what I want in my defensive backfield. We're probably going to see maybe even a higher draft pick than we're used to on safety. I'd really love to see that. Like, I don't know. I think we just got to embrace this. And see what these guys got. The good news is Aaron Glenn, as we know, Parcellian, what's the guy from the Broncos? The coach. What the fuck's his name?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
Yeah. Parcells, Sean Payton. These are guys that have done it, in more than one location, building a team. Aaron Glenn's one of their disciples. He was a part of the Detroit Lions resurgence as well. Let's just let these guys cook and see what they can do with guys like Brandon Stevens when he's playing man. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's tough. It's different, but I'm going to ride it.
Yeah, the losing DJ Reed, to your points, I think it was going to be an overpay that we would have had to pay to get him here, or to keep him here. When someone doesn't want to be here, it just doesn't bode well for the culture and everything. And that's not to say that, like, Reed is a bad culture guy at all, but, like, it was time for him to move on. He knew he deserved a payday. We see Sauce's contract coming up. Like, I don't particularly love the Stevens contract either, to be perfectly honest, to Matt's point. And if you could, somehow replace Stevens with Reed for the same money that he signed with Detroit for, then sure, yeah, that would be great. But realistically, he has a shot to win a Super Bowl with Detroit, where that's just not really a thing here. So I don't know. I think it's probably best that we parted ways in a fine manner. Blitzcrew says, if you want the grade breakdown, it's on the NFLPA's site. Question: best South Park character? My vote is Butters with his creamy center. Milk thumbs, bros.
Milk thumbs.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, Matt, who's your favorite South Park character?
I'll go Kenny for favorite South Park character.
Kenny's a good one. What about you, Bean?
Stan's dad.
I was going to say Randy Marsh.
Randy Marsh.
I really like Randy. I'll say, I'll go Butters. Butters always gives me like a good laugh.
Butters awesome.
They're like, it's so funny. I really enjoyed doing that thumbnail. I'm glad it came out.
That was a good one.
The first try at it, I send it to our Talkin' Jets group chat because it's not one I can really post. But like, Matt has a very different complexion than what he's actually
I don't know what the hell happened.
I have no idea, but like I almost fell off my. I should show it. Let me see if I got it.
Yeah, I switched religions.
Oh my god, dude, I was absolutely dying. Let me see if I can do this without jacking this up real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Put this over here. Slide this around. All right, I'll get this, dude.
This one looks a little bit closer to what we look like.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was just like playing with these at work too. It was great. 1 second. I'll get it. Oh, here it is.
You got it? You found it?
So this is what AI decided to give us the first time around. Oh man. I can I don't think I'm even wearing a hat in our normal thumbnail, but it gave me a hat. That kind of made sense.
It gave you a hat. It made Matt into a very, very interesting version of himself. And I am a Jewish rabbi.
We had to go back and look at like the actual photo of what we used. And, you know, Green Bean's got his hat on backwards. And I was like, I can see where the AI thought that was. But the caricatures, I think, are just ridiculous. I don't know why it gave us like a tropical background either. Like that's not in our.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah. What's over Matt's head? Is that a halo? I mean, what is that?
Yeah, I'm going to say UFO, maybe.
UFO. Okay.
Yeah, I like UFO. That was my first thought too.
I like it. And then you can see the glow on the jet sign from behind me from the thumbnail. So I guess it highlighted that. Oh, there we go. And Lewis says, Matt, I don't see a difference.
Yeah, it looks just like Matt.
Yeah, nailed it.
I fell off my seat when that happened. I thought this was one of the funnier things that have popped up. Hennessy comes and says, 23 days away from my favorite draft stream. No one does it like you guys. My 5th year. I will be tuned in. Can't wait. Warren round 1. So I'm very excited for draft night. If you guys have not been here on a draft night with us, it is so much fun. We go for all 3 days. We show the picks on screen. We talk about everything, live reactions, everything that's like real and authentic and in the moment. Like we've been caught with our pants down before. We did not think Will McDonald was going to be the pick. That was a pretty funny reaction. The Sauce, JJ, Brees, and Garrett draft, that was a rush. That was a whole lot of fun. So who knows what the Jets do this time? Maybe we take a tight end. Maybe we take a tackle. Maybe we go some completely different direction that we're not seeing. But you got to tune in to the Talkin' Jets panel here to get all the fun and shenanigans. Green Bean, any thoughts on the draft?
Well, number one, I love Hennessy. I think he's one of the best, truly. You know, he's good hang. He's always with us, and I love having him around. I'm excited too, and I'm gonna tell you, you know, as we inch closer, right? Like you start to get your favorites. I think I might be in the hashtag Warren round 1 group. I might be there. There's a few guys I'd be happy with. I'm really hoping the Jets don't pull some bullshit. And like, you know, the rumor that the Jets are really considering Jackson Dart at 7. You know, I don't put much stock into it, but you know, if they pulled something like that, I'd be really bent out of shape. You know, like, look, you did the Justin Fields thing. Let's do everything we can to make it work. Like the Jets are famous for, you know, for not, like we say we're all in, but not really going all in. Will McDonald was a perfect example of that, you know, like that year, like there, you know, we had Aaron Rodgers, you know, we had 2 injured tackles. Both, you know, Brown was old and injured. Becton was multiple years injured in a row, and we did nothing behind it. And it was like, I don't know, it just seemed like, and we had defensive ends out the wazoo. And we used a first on it the year before, and we had JFM still here. And you know what I mean? We were good. And we go ahead and we do something. We draft a guy that's just not going to contribute that much in his rookie year. And that's exactly what happened. I forget. I think he played 19% of the snaps or something along those lines. So, like, if we're going to do it, like, I would just like to see the Jets commit to let's see if something actually works. Because then we do this thing where it's like, you know, we did it with Zach Wilson too. Like, you know, you draft a quarterback, but he's got no offensive line and he looks like shit, but his receivers aren't so good. So, you know, what does it really mean? And we live in this world of like where we can create these factions. It's like, go out there, get the guy protection, get the guy weapons, you know, some receiving outlets, and let's see if it works. You know what I mean? And fill some other holes and stuff, of course. But so I don't know. I think I might be with Hennessy here. I might be starting to tiptoe toward the Warren train.
I want to get into the Warren conversation in just a minute because I think the video we're about to watch with Muji talking about premium versus non-premium stuff. So we'll get into that in just a minute. We'll go around. Muttvile says, I don't see what's wrong with the comments. Worry about the boys here. Bold prediction. Justin Fields will be the biggest steal in free agency with the Jets 10-7. Fingers crossed. I want Justin Fields to like absolutely pop off and like make it so we just don't have to take a quarterback in 2026. Like prove all of us wrong. Like do the thing. Like that's what we're all pulling for. I'm sure you'll have your haters too that are just like, just tank and get the guy next year. But like, I want to see success. And hopefully, we get that out of Justin here. All right. So let's go through some of these clips that SNY has. Hopefully I have the audio here correct. And we can listen to everything.
There was a stereotype the last few years around the NFL regarding non-premium positions, running back, tight end, and where you should select them in the draft, where you should pay them. Has some of the success recently, whether it was Saquon in Philly or Brock in the Raiders, changed maybe the overall outlook where maybe using premium picks on a position like that is a little more
I don't know that it changed. I mean, we're always just looking to add good players, right? Regardless of position. If you can add good players that help you win games, premium position or not, we'll be looking to do that.
I think there was a
So that's clearly, I think, in reference to the Tyler Warren rumors and things of that nature, because tight end historically is just not a premium position. Obviously, Bowers popped off last year, and having him being like a generational type tight end and everything, and then Warren this year could potentially be going like 5 picks higher or 6 picks higher than what Bowers did last year. That's going to be kind of in the discussion. He mentioned Saquon going off in Philly. Now, I do think, I know Matt's been on the Warren train for a bit now. Green Bean is getting there or heading in that direction. I do think there's a lot of smoke to that potential pick. And a lot of it stems from some of what was said more recently, as well as some contract structuring that we brought up last week. And I don't think Bean heard this, but so Josh Myers, the center that we got, who's Justin Fields' center in college, has a Pro Bowl incentive in his contract. Now, it'd be weird to kind of sign a backup center with a Pro Bowl incentive. That's funky to me. Muji also mentions Myers is going to push Tittman at the center position. So what are you going to do? You're going to have Myers start at center and then Joe Tittman goes where exactly? I think there's some thought that I think Tittman could potentially go over to guard. Now, we did hear AVT is staying at guard. So are you relegating Simpson to the backup role, even though he had success with Olu alongside of him? It sure as shit seems to me like AVT could be moving outwards toward the right-hand side, right tackle, and they might be targeting like a third-round right tackle to compete and then hopefully, be the heir there. I think that's entirely possible, which brings a lot more emphasis potentially to Tyler Warren. If I were to want Tyler Warren, then I think maybe that's the way I'd try to like hide the fact that I wanted Tyler Warren, that I'm not moving my offensive lineman around. Because I think a lot of people have Armand Membu, the right tackle out of Missouri, kind of penciled in for the Jets just to bookend our tackles. Now, I'm on record saying I think Membu should be the pick. I think it's harder to get a tackle than a tight end, but I will not be upset with Tyler Warren whatsoever, especially with Justin Fields. You bring in Justin Fields, he uses his tight ends a good amount, doesn't really go to his second read as far as wide receivers go. Very consistently. So I think it's very much a move, to Green Bean's credit, saying a move for the now and supporting Justin Fields now, while also being like a long-term solution at the position that we're already super weak at. Bean just talked on Warren a little bit, but I want to go to Matt, talk about the premium, non-premium positions, and any thoughts on Warren that you have.
Yeah, so it's funny. We're like, we have the same mindset, but we're flipped on it in a way. I lean Tyler Warren for the Jets at pick number 7 over Membu, but if I was doing a predictive mock, I think the Jets would take Membu over Tyler Warren. You're kind of the opposite, but I'd fine either way. Like, while yes, my preference would be to take Tyler Warren at 7. If the Jets did take Membu, I'd go, okay, I totally get it. You fill out your offensive line. You have 4 really young guys, or 5 really, if you want to include John Simpson in that, which I think you should. He's only 27, 28 years old. A really nice young group of guys who can play hopefully together for a long time. For me with Warren, and it's good that we brought up, or that Green Bean mentioned, the connection that Justin Fields has with the tight ends. I was looking at a study that was done, and this I go into more depth on Just Jets tomorrow with this, but it looked at quarterbacks from 2021 to 2023 and the percentage of which they targeted either tight ends, wide receivers, or running backs through the passing attack. And Justin Fields targeted tight ends the fourth most out of any quarterback in the league over that span, and the fifth fewest to wide receiver. So to me, that screams like the Jets really need to prioritize the tight end position. And, you know, it doesn't have to be Tyler Warren in the first round, but if you do go with an Armand Membu, you better get someone pretty damn good on day 2 who's going to have to come in and play a pretty big role right away. I'm not saying it's impossible. There's, you know, guys who've been taken in the second or third round that have come in and produced immediately at the position, but it is a really big position of need. And I do think it's something the Jets need to prioritize in the NFL draft.
Bean, anything more to add to what Matt and I have just said regarding Warren and, you know, maybe premium positions, Membu and whatnot?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it is a deeper tight end class than it is a tackle class, right? So there's some logic there. And again, like we've talked about many times, just because Joe Douglas's regime last year drafted a left tackle in the first, that has no bearing on what this team will do. I actually liked what you said, Ryan, about, you know, look, if they're talking about Myers potentially pushing Tippmann, but they're saying AVT's at guard and all this stuff, like it could be numerous, you know, it goes both ways, but everything that they're saying right now should be chalked up to to impact the draft in a positive way for themselves, right? Yeah. That's what this is. We talk about it every single year. Yet every year, these crazy stories, we lose our minds over. It's funny. Every single year we do it. But I think if they were going to be targeting Membu, who, by the way, if they decided to take him, I'm totally fine with it. We've talked about these things a lot. But when you look at it, I would prefer a pass catcher. I would. We're really devoid of that right now in the first round. But if they just decided, hey, we're going to finish this offensive line, we want a young offensive line that we have the opportunity to keep most of together for the foreseeable future, really for the contract, you know, for most of my contract from, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞𝐬𝐿's and Glenn's perspective. And they want to just do that. Like, let's get the offensive line done. And we can start bringing in pipeline guys in the mid rounds, you know, over the next couple of years, kind of a thing. Just keep it going. I respect that, and I'm on board with that, and I'm with that. You can get some really nice tight ends and receivers in the second and third round. There's going to be some guys there that you can bring on, because don't forget, we're not really looking for that number one wide receiver, right? We're looking for a guy that can be complimentary. And I know that a lot of Jets fans are out on somebody like Malachi Corley, but I will bring you to this point that I talk about often, which is I'm not going to be out on Malachi Corley until I see Malachi Corley on the field consistently and not being able to get separation, not, dropping passes, all those kinds of things. Because the regime that we're basing this assessment on was unable to develop one single player in their entire 4-year tenure here. And in addition to that, every wide receiver that we brought in free agency, look, we had to get rid of the last 2 free agent signings mid-season. They couldn't figure out a way to use guys who had already carved out successful careers for themselves in the NFL. Now, maybe they're not what they were in the early part of their career, but the idea that mid-season this offensive staff couldn't figure out how to use Mike Williams and Mecole Hardman, it's laughable. And on top of that, they just don't know how to develop anybody, whether it's offensive lines, alignment, tight ends, wide receivers. They can't develop anybody. So the idea that Malachi Corley with 1 year in the Saleh, Hackett, Downing regime, all of a sudden he sucks. I'm not buying it, dude. He was a stud in college. Most of us liked him coming out. He comes in here and all of a sudden he's a bum. I'm not buying it. So if you're looking for a guy in this, for a wide receiver, you want to finish your offensive line, and you say, look, I know I can get a solid number 2 wide receiver in the second round, a Higgins or somebody like that. And then I got Malachi Corley. I really like Malachi Corley coming out of the slot, something like that. We signed Josh Reynolds. I know everybody's very excited about him. He seems like a real stud muffin supreme. So we're gonna, so we have some a little bit of depth we're developing there. But I think you can do that too. So if the Jets decide to do that and just go offensive line as opposed to going Tyler Warren because of the idea that it's a deeper tight end class, I get it. I don't think there's another Tyler Warren in the class. When I look at the tight ends, I like a lot of them. Like, really, I think Tyler Warren is the best. I think he's the top tight end, guys. I think it's pretty clear. But anyway, if they decide, hey, Membu and Arroyo or Mason Taylor is better than, let's say Golden or Tet McMillan and whoever we're going to get at tackle in the second round, Ursery, then I respect that. And I'll go with it.
Infrared comes in and says, do you brothers think we will draft a right outside linebacker to shadow Quincy Williams this year in case they let go of Quincy next year? I think they're definitely going to take a linebacker at some point. I have no idea where or when that's going to be. I don't think they're going to prioritize it super high because I think that sends a clear message that Quincy's out, and I don't think that's the direction they're going to go. I think if anything, they might try to do some type of patch contract for Quincy for a season or give him some incentives to kind of hit his, higher tier. Obviously, we just paid Sherwood, but I think going overly high on linebacker might be a little prickly with Quinnen and Quincy and whatnot in the locker room. Bean, any thoughts on linebacker?
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with what you're saying there. I mean, like, we don't have a third linebacker, and we're going to be a 4-3 defense. I know with Michael Carter, the presumption, and with Wilkes and, his percentage of playing nickel, that we're going to play a lot of nickel, and I think we will. But the truth is we don't have a third linebacker, really. We do have Zaire Barnes. I don't know what these guys think of him. We haven't seen enough of him to really get excited. Will be his 3rd year. By this time, it was a long shot, but there were some of us, myself included, Dom C, I think Tigo, few of us were getting pretty excited about Sherwood when he was able to come on. He was playing really well on special teams. And when he was able to come on, in spot duty for CJ Mosley coming off the field, it was like crazy. If he came on for 2 plays, he made both tackles. That was just what he did. And so by now we were able to kind of get a little bit of excitement going for Sherwood. I don't feel like Zaire Barnes has given us that. We know he was injured last year. So we don't have a third linebacker for a 4-3 defense. I think taking a linebacker high doesn't necessarily mean that Quincy's out. But to Infrared's point, you bring a guy in, early in the draft. You see a guy who's just, one of the best players available at the place you're picking, and you decide to go linebacker. If it finishes your 4-3, and you have the guy kind of grooming for, if and when Quincy Williams can't be retained or you let him go or whatever it might be, you got that guy going into year 2. As opposed to drafting next year and going into next year with a rookie next to Jamie and Sherwood. I think you might be surprised. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but I wouldn't be as surprised as a lot of other people if we did go linebacker earlier, because again, we don't have a third linebacker, and in my opinion, we need one.
When do you think would be if you had to rough guesstimate it, like a day 2 or day 3 pick, you think, for linebacker?
Day 2. I could see day 2 easily. Now, what we want is tackle, tight end, wide receiver, days 1 and 2. That's what we want, but it rarely goes that way for, so I wouldn't be surprised if they took a Schlesinger in the 2nd or something like that. A Demetrius Knight, somebody like that. There's a couple of guys you can get later too. Danny Stutzman is a name that comes up often that we talk about. But again, if they decided to, all of a sudden they're on the board with their second round pick, and a lot of the guys that you were hoping that they would get, like, a lot of guys that were mocking week in, week out, they're all gone, and they decide to pull Schlesinger off the board, I would be very happy with that, and I would understand it and agree with it. Maybe not the way I would want to go, but again, like I said, I would understand it.
Matt, thoughts on linebacker?
Yeah, I understand where Infrared is coming from here on this, but I feel like there's so many needs that the Jets have going into this draft. It's hard for me to think about the linebacker position, honestly, before you get to day 3, right? Like, I just don't see a scenario where you can take one on the first 2 days. Now, Green Bay went through some different scenarios if guys come off the board, and I understand that. I just think with tight end, receiver, right tackle, safety, just off the top of my head, I think you'd probably be picking from some of those 4 positions that we just went through before getting to linebacker. Now, who knows? Maybe they really like someone and prioritize that, but I don't think it's something they do really before we get to day 3.
We got Hennessy says Glenn can only judge Corley on his college tape, which I guess could bode well, right?
Yeah.
Blitz crew.
Unless you're going to over dramatize him dropping the ball excitedly at the goal line.
That's a dumb move.
It is, but
I will overly criticize that because I think you're a moron if you do it. Like, I'm excited for Corley. I'm not going to bury him right now, but big old dumbo for that. I hate that.
He was excited. Think about that. I know, I get it. I agree, but it's not indicative of if whether or not a player can play and contribute or not.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Damn well that's never going to happen to him again. It's never going to happen. No. Dude. You know what I mean? And so many fans. I mean, I've talked about it. I know you guys have so many times. Like, Corley's a loser. Who does that? Dude, he was excited. Again, when they slowed it down and they showed him, he had a smile. His lips actually touched his ears. It was like he was they finally put me in the game, and I'm finally in the end zone. He just got excited. It's stupid. But it's not like, we can't trust him. He's immature. He wasn't being a punk. He wasn't wiping his ass with the football. He wasn't, pissing on doing the dog thing on the goalpost like Elijah. It wasn't a punk move. He was excited. It was a mistake. It'll never happen again. I told you, if he gets in the end zone, he's going to bring that shit to his mother.
Yeah, he's not letting go of the ball. Still think you're a dumbo for doing it.
Yeah.
Blitz crew comes in and says, the fact we brought back Jamin Davis makes me wonder, especially with a new regime, maybe he is showing his first-round potential finally. Hey, look, there's a lot of first-round picks that wind up floating around the NFL because they were taken that high for a reason. They have a lot of potential, and hopefully we can capture some of that in a second or I guess it'll be third coming, right? He's been on, was it 3 teams? 1, 2. This will be his 3rd team now. Curly comes in and says, while I may be negative about our loser team, just know I'm positive about your guys' content. Thanks for the Jets therapy over the years. Ooh. Curly, thank you for hanging out with us. The chat and these two guys are the reason why it makes it fun to keep coming back here over and over and over again. This is truly...
Yeah, sure as shit as wasn't the Jets, Ryan.
No, it was not.
They're trying their hardest to make it not fun.
Oh, dude, I got the... our ticket rep, it was funny. They reached out to us. They're like, oh, hey, coming out to a game? We're like, we're going to come out to a game. It's going to happen. Doing our Talkin' Jets group buy. Don't know when it's going to be. Schedule hasn't come out yet. But we're masochists. Just really like the pain and the suffering that we get caused year in and year out.
I told you, when my business hits that I'm building, I'm buying us a box. And we'll, one of those, one of the luxury boxes. And if there's, I guess, the one that I had down here in Miami, I think it fit 20.
Wow.
Like every week we could give, I think that's what it was.
That would be cool.
So it would be us 3, be us, Dom, see all our guys every week. And every week we'd be giving away tickets to bring some of these buttholes with us. Infrared can come one week, Hennessy, you know what I mean?
That would be cool as hell.
Give us your tickets.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. That's one of my goals. I've always wanted to do that. We're doing it.
So it's funny that we're bringing this up because I was telling Ryan before we got started, but I was visiting. Actually, you met him, my friend Max, who came with us to the game last year, and he asked me, "Are you doing another game this year? That was a lot of fun." And I said, "Yeah, we probably are." And then Taylor reminded me that not only did I say it, but also Green Bean and Ryan said, please make sure to remind us next year that we never want to come back to this guy.
We can't sit together. That's what it is. Me and O'Leary cannot sit next to each other. We keep doing it, and I keep looking at Matt for the face. We give each other the face at some point in the game. Like, again, we did this.
Yeah. So I just wanted to I'm excited. Like, I'm preemptively excited to hang out with all of you guys again, but just we can't say that Taylor didn't warn us because
she's like, right. She's the sober reminder. Like, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but guys, you did all say that Green Bean's not allowed in the stadium. He hasn't seen a victory. He's seen one victory in 20 years. And I seen what I see, one touchdown in the last 6 games that I've been there.
It's been
one touchdown.
Dry.
It's crazy.
It has been a while. Like, I think the only winning game that I've seen recently, I was there for the Jet Patriot Thursday night game this past year. And then
that must have been fun.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. It was Fireman Ed's birthday, so we got to go to his birthday party beforehand. We're drinking beer with him, hanging out, and then dude, top of the world. I was like, this is it. This is the start of something great. We're going into our week 4 group bye. We're gonna put our foot right through the fucking Broncos. This is gonna be great. And then we sat in the rain,
dude.
Couldn't punch it in from 1st and 1 on the goal line. Like, it was just the beginning of the end at that point.
You know what I want to tell Tailgate Joe too? We should do this. I like the thought of what he does, kind of giving us our own area, but I want us to be set up by the cornhole.
Ooh.
I want us to be like in it. You know what I mean? Here, right? We want to hear the music. We want to be by the games.
We could do that. I get there pretty early, so it's like he's like, oh yeah, you can set up, wherever you want. We're like, all right, we'll go like right next to it, but I'm gonna park the car closer. Just gonna be like, bam.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
This way, right? This way, we're kind of in the mix. Like, we got to kind of walk over to the food. I mean, we're not that far away. I don't want to make it like, bigger than it is, but I think it'd be fun to like set up shop right by the cornhole. You know where all the games are set up?
Oh yeah. It's great. Yeah, if you guys want to come out with us, we'll share the details once we know what game we're going to, and then we also do like tailgate options if you want to hang out with Tailgate Joe and just swing by. It's always a good time. We have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. We're going. We're going to win, damn it.
Tailgate's the best part.
Oh, it really is.
Getting to talk with everyone and hang out and shoot the shit before going in.
Yeah.
And then, like Green Bean said, we go in there and then the Jets are down by like 20. And Green Bean and I, we just look at each other, shake our head, say, all right, see you next year.
So last year, the rain really, that rain.
Oh, it didn't let up.
Remember, we were all.
It didn't let up.
I got a couple pictures. It's like our entire group under a little tent. It's like just,
under a 10 by 10. Just like ripping shots and hanging out. It was great. The conversation was awesome.
Who was the guy that brought the shots? He brought like the really good whiskey, and then he got upset with me that I didn't drink one. He's like, dude, what do you mean? I poured you a shot. I'm like, dude, I don't drink. He's like, no, you're drinking this. I'm like, no, I'm not. You better have brought at least an 8 ball of cocaine if you want me to fucking drink that thing.
We
lock your cars, everybody.
Our last games together. I think this would be we've done 4, I think now. So last year it poured the entire time, and we saw like virtually no scoring. It didn't let up on the rain. The year before, we went down on the field. Was it before the game? I think it was before the game. And then we got up to our seats, and as we were walking up, there was it a punt return for a touchdown by the Chargers?
Punt return, I think.
And we're like, we're losing before we even get to our damn seats. The year before that, we did. Was it the Ravens game?
That was also in the rain.
That was
that
Drizzly,
was
light Drizzly. That was
the Jets Lounge.
That was the Jets Lounge one that had what was the name of the hangar? We were in the hangar. That was
the hangar.
Neat. That was cool. And then the Patriot one wasn't an official one. We were just kind of walking around and wandering, and we got the interception removed, or was it a fumble? Like taken off the board from us, and then Zach Wilson threw like 4 interceptions.
Zach Wilson 4 interceptions. That was the one where O'Leary and I had to sit behind the guy who yelled for 3 quarters the Jets should punt on 3rd down.
Yeah, I was brutally sunburned and ready to.
Oh yeah,
just angry.
Hey, Green Bean, I'm ready to go to jail today.
Peter comes in. Peter says, besides paying Sauce and Garrett, 5th-year option for JJ and Brees likely getting tagged, could they give Quincy and Simpson an extra year each and anyone else? Quincy, Simpson, and AVT are the 3 guys that I'm kind of keeping an eye on because those are guys that I would like to see brought back in some capacity, but I wouldn't be shocked if we tried to find the replacement through the draft this year, or like we allow them to walk and then we draft some guys next year to also kind of fill this in. I don't know if we're going to get all of them back. Matt, I'll throw this one to you. Looking at, like, aside from Garrett, Sauce, Brees, and JJ, at the end of this year, anyone in particular that you're hoping comes back or you think might not come back? He mentions Quincy and Simpson off the bat.
I would very strongly consider bringing John Simpson back because I don't think it's going to be as costly, and offensive linemen tend to play forever, right? Like Quincy's going to be 30 at the end of the year. 30-year-old linebackers don't usually age as gracefully as 30-year-old interior offensive linemen. So assuming Simpson plays at the level he just did this past year, I would be in on that in-season extension notification coming through.
I would even say for Quincy, like if they want to give him like a Band-Aid 2-year deal or something that increases his money a bit, like I'd be cool with that, like whether that's in season or not. Bean, what about you? Quincy, Simpson, AVT in particular, since they're all going into the final years of their deals.
Let me read. So this is Peter, right? So besides paying Garrett Wilson and Sauce, 5th-year option for JJ, I like it, and Brees. Okay, I like this. Brees lately getting tagged. I don't know if we're gonna tag him, but maybe. Okay, I'm in so far. All right. Could they give Quincy and Simpson an extra year? I don't think either one would want the year. I think you got to lock them up for a couple of years. I'd say 3 years. I think. Boy, how old is Quincy? Is he going to be 30, you said? Or he is 30?
He will be 30 at the end of the year.
At the end of the season, so he's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to want this because, like, that's perceivably it could be, looked at as his last contract. So if he plays a year and or if he signs for a year and goes down a little bit, he's lost the ability to do that. It's right in that tenuous, you know what they say, the wrong side of 30, right? So I don't know if that gets it done. I'd be down for it, but look, Quincy Williams, as much as I genuinely love him, when he's on, he's a thunderclap, right? He's all over. But when there are also games like he has a game where he's just everywhere, and the next week he's a non-entity. So I don't know what that is, and I do like the brothers and keeping them together. I don't know if we're allowed to separate them. I don't know if you trade one or cut one, the other one now wants to go. I don't know what that looks like. So you got to think about that. But I'd like to see them retain him, assuming that he's that he plays, at a high level. But I'm not the guy. He's not the guy that I'm breaking the bank for. Truth be told, unless he comes out and plays another, like an all-pro year, right? Then that obviously I reserve the right to change my opinion. But he's one of the guys that I like. That I think, like, when, just like I talked about before with like the Ravens, they lose players that the fans love, the teams love. They're good players. They lose them every year because you have to. You have to lose somebody. You can't keep everybody together every year. I think Quincy's right at that level where he's a player I really like. He's a very good player. But if he's the one that pops through, him than the likes of Sauce, Garrett, Quincy, JJ, and obviously Ruckert.
Yeah, it may be a good situation too if the Jets have to pay Sauce and Garrett and potentially AVT and Simpson, so you're kind of rounding out your O-line. Maybe Quincy is the one that winds up walking after like a good incentive-laden boost to his contract this year. He's happy, he gets paid on the in the off season, and then Jets wind up getting a comp pick because we've used up so much cap space to retain our own guys. Maybe it works out for us that way. Blitz Crew says, put the box seats on the baggage claim. When it happens, there will be a bigger slice of the pie on there, for sure.
The baggage claim. What does he mean by this? Put it on the baggage.
Baggage claim. Bam. Baggage claim. Spin wheel.
Oh, the baggage claim. Holy shit.
You know the thing you've been getting
right.
names for
That's
all
what
night?
we'll do. Okay, I'm
Oh boy.
I'm back. All right.
Oh boy.
That'd be great. Yeah, we could do that every week. I'm telling you guys, like, look, I have every confidence that my business is going to be $100 million business in 2 years. So when that happens, box seats are going to be chump change. I'm buying one for the season. And we're going to do exactly that. Like we're going to be spreading the love and all that shit. We'll figure out a neat way to do it. But like every week, like, right, we give 2 tickets away to the box in the baggage claim. As long as you're not a butthole. Somebody wins and we know like a Modine or something. We go, nope. And then we add somebody else,
Jets forever. Sorry. not happening. It would be awesome.
I'd like to meet Jets forever.
I want to meet you. I like meeting everyone in the chat. It's really funny when they come up to us and they're like, hey, I'm Rich Cimini's Crusty Tissue. I'm like, oh, hi, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I will say it's better to introduce yourselves as your name here. Like if Infrared, although I do recognize, I know what he looks like, but let's say like an Eminon would walk up and say, hey, my name's Fred. And we're like, hey, Fred, how you doing? And then like it happens all the time. Later on, they go, hey, I'm whatever. I'm, Eminon. And you go, oh, like that's how we know you guys. I'm not going to know Fred or Jim. I'm Jim. Hey, Jim. And then you find out it's the main catch or somebody, That's the way to introduce yourselves.
It's absolutely great. And the names are really funny to watch people say out loud, like in person, because it's like, I didn't really think I'd have to say that in front of someone.
Now, Jason Edwards can just introduce himself as Jason Edwards.
Jason Edwards. Correct. We know the whole family.
Yeah, we know the whole family.
Jason, we'll get to your super chat in just a second. The Milton Fung comes in and says, is it crazy to still like Campbell, even if he's not an offensive tackle? Both Simpson and AVT are in the final years of their contracts. Try him at offensive tackle. If he doesn't work, move him to guard next year. I don't think that's a crazy thought process. I think for me, the O-line is like a point of contention for me because I understand wanting to go Membu. I think getting tackles, it's harder after the top 2 rounds. But I don't want to invest so much money in the tackles. I'm really hoping the Jets like a lot of mid-round offensive tackles that could be there in the 3rd round, like more than just like the 1 or 2 guys that like we like. And they don't feel compelled to spend so many draft assets on the O-line. I don't know. Campbell, if they made the selection, I'd be a little irritated, I think, because I do view him a little bit more as a guard. But I hope we go a different direction. Matt, your thoughts on Campbell?
I don't love the fit initially for that. Like I get where the Milton Fung is coming from here. Like I understand it saying, hey, you can move him inside if one of or both, God forbid, Simpson and AVT are gone. I get that, but that would feel very much like the Will McDonald pick a couple years ago, where it's like you got to wait a couple years before you really actually see that one come to fruition. I think they need more of a immediate impact guy.
Bean, what about you, Campbell?
Well, I think it's not crazy to like him. I think he's a badass. He's a good football player. But when you're picking in the top 7. That's not for a team like the Jets. Like again, like we talk about the good teams, right? Like the Ravens, the Eagles, the Chiefs, they can do stuff like that because their rosters are usually pretty stout. They're stocked, they're a well-oiled machine. You can do stuff like that. Like we really need to get the desired impact from a top, that top 10 pick, top 7 pick. Big deal between 7 and 10. So, I don't know if that is really the way to go. Like, well, hey, we're going to try him at tackle. And then, he fails. And then you're stuck with Okafor in the Justin Fields experiment. And, it's not working because the line is breaking down. And you know what I mean? I think you got to really put your plan together. And then it's like, well, and if we can't sign Simpson, like I get it. Not the way I'd like to go, but I don't think it's crazy to like the player at all. That's the thing with the draft. You can only get one. in the first round, unless obviously if you get more picks, but there's a lot of players you like. You got to really look at this and say, okay, who's going to give me the maximum benefit, especially in the top. If you're in the top 10, you really got to do your best to get a guy that could come in and is what we call, pro ready, turnkey, blue chip, those types of monikers that these guys got. You got to do your best. That's why reaching in the top 10 is a mistake. So anyway, that's just, I don't think it's crazy to like him though. He's a very good player. I like him too.
I'm going to go over Matt real quick because you know what? Some of your takes stink in the chat.
They do stink. And guess what? We got you covered with today's sponsor. Boom, Mando. You've heard me talk about the Mando body spray. I love the bourbon leather, which I have right here. I'll give myself a little spritz because under these hot lights doing a stream, sometimes you can get a little stinky. So here's what you do. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, the cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and the best of all, the free shipping. My bourbon leather body wash and the bourbon leather body spray that I just showed you are 2 of my favorite items from Mando. Body spray is perfect for keeping you smelling fresh all day. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use code TalkinJets at mandopodcast.com/TalkinJets. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
I have really liked the Mando wipes. I keep them in my to-go bag. You guys have heard me talk about those. Highly, highly recommended. Just because our team stinks doesn't mean you guys have to stink. Boom! There you go. Green Bean, you like your Mando?
I love it. As a matter of fact, look at that, everybody.
Ooh,
there it is.
Mount Fuji.
I keep it around wherever I go. I never go anywhere without Mando. Never. I tell you what I like is the wipes and the spray. That's what I like.
Wipes are legit.
The spray reminds me, Ryan, of when I was younger, when we were just becoming men, when we just started getting hair under our arms in the 80s and 90s, right? Right guard. There was like a big can of, big cans. And we liked to use the spray. We felt like men, I played freshman, sophomore football. All the older guys, the seniors, they're using the spray deodorant. I couldn't wait to need it. So, but I haven't used spray deodorant in a very, very long time. I'm like a roll-on guy generally. So I'm really enjoying my Mando spray deodorant. It smells great. It works great, and it's fucking fun for me.
It's great.
I love it. I feel like a kid again.
Honestly,
Great.
it's like, so when I was in middle school, we didn't have it wasn't right guard. It was Axe. It was Axe body spray. Oh my God. It was like, you smell terrible. You smell so bad. You just but you spray it all over. It'd be like the coolest. It's like you're using an aerosol can, like spray paint or something. It's like, I don't know. It's childlike things like that make men happy. And you can smell like Mando by using our code. Thanks for supporting the show. Jason Derulo. Hey, Ryan. I love the shirt. Available on talkinjets.com. Boom. Just put mine in the hamper. By the way, how many wins this year? I say 9 optimistically. I'm pretty sure the Jets are penciled in at right now 5.5, I think is what Vegas has the over-under at. I think it's probably spot on for where people are feeling, because I think we could be anywhere from like a really bad team, like picking top 5, to like, oh, wow, the offense kind of did a thing and we're sitting at like 9 wins. I do think the schedule is pretty tough. I'm going to say I think we get 6 wins this year. I think that's maybe more of a pessimistic view, but I'm going to say over on the 5.5 that Vegas gives. Matt, you first.
I'm gonna say 7 or 8 wins for the Jets. So a step up. I think best case scenario, maybe 9, like Jason's saying, 9 and a 7 seed would be really sweet. But I'm gonna say 7 or 8. And a little bit more of a watchable product, even though they're not quite there just yet.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like maybe not a win total that represents how like the direction the Jets are really going, but like you're going to feel a lot better now than you did, I think, last year. Bean, your thoughts on where the Jets finish win-loss wise?
I'm shooting for a 9-win season. I think, look, we got a lot of question marks. It's a whole different thing. Like we had a new quarterback. We got a new we had a whole new coaching staff, right? New GM, everything's new. But a lot of the talent is still here. Like we have we have a really nice young core still. I really would have loved to keep 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢, but we didn't. He followed DJ Reed to Detroit. But I think if we play this draft season right, you can plug in those holes. I do hope it's an offensive tilted draft for us. Like I do still want to get a young defensive tackle. We did a lot of defensive tackle work in free agency. I really want to see safeties. I want to see some safety work, a defensive tackle, and like I mentioned before, a linebacker. But other than that, man, like I'm really hoping that we see a wide receiver, a tight end, a tackle, maybe 2 tight ends, that kind of a thing. And I think that we can compete this year, man. I really do, especially in this division. I think Miami's confused. They don't know what's going on. They just signed the 3rd consecutive Jets backup quarterback. I don't know why they feel like that's the way to go, but they're doing it. I love it. And the Patriots, I feel like, I mean, look, they got Vrabel. Dude, their coaching staff is no joke. So I'm a little bit nervous about where they're going, but I think they're still where they are. The Bills are the cream of the crop, and that is what it is. But I think in this division we can compete. And I'm really looking at that 9-win. I'd love to see this regime come in and rookie year get more wins than the Saleh regime did in any of their 4 years. That would be big. But my goal for this year, what I'm really pulling for, is that we can squeak into the wild card and end this damn playoff drought thing. If we do that, it's a success, a rousing success for me.
JJ says, I'm wearing my Winston Hill jersey this year, not buying any of the new gear until we win. I can totally sympathize with that. I've bought far too many jerseys in the last 2 or 3 years, just being overly hyped up and excited. And I think I'm probably falling in line with that. I'll probably wind up rocking my green Garrett Wilson 5 jersey a lot this year. I really wanted to get a JJ 11 jersey. I think I'm going to wait and just see how he plays at this point. I think that's probably going to be my next purchase. But that's probably I don't even know if they're going to re-sign him after this year. It's probably a 5th-year option for him. So I'm probably going to have to hold off on that. Matt, any thoughts on getting a new jersey, and what will you be rocking if you're not getting a new jersey?
So I also have the Garrett Wilson number 5 jersey. That's my favorite right now. I have a bunch of throwback ones in the closet. I always say every year, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to buy another jersey this year. And then I always end up doing it. If they draft Tyler Warren, it's going to be very hard for me not to purchase that jersey. Just put it out there.
I think if they do like a throwback Aaron Glenn, like flashy green kind of era jersey, I'd probably get that one just because it's like the nostalgic stuff. Bean, what about you?
I haven't bought a rookie, like our 1st-round draft pick jersey, since Pennington. I think
I did.
Pennington.
Sam was my last one. Actually, no, I'm lying. Sauce. I did it with Sauce.
I bought a Sam Darnold for my son, but that wasn't his rookie year. So that was the year the Jets switched to the shit jerseys because it was black.
Yep.
And my son and I watched like the JB Smooth intro where Jamal Adams couldn't hide his disdain. Remember that? It
was so
they
uncomfortable.
filmed his natural reaction, and he opened it up and he was like, "Oh, yeah." That's it.
I'm so glad we're out of those jerseys. Great.
Yeah, it's been, I think, 2000. So 25 years since I've been motivated to buy the jersey of our 1st-round draft pick.
The reason I did Sauce is because my wife's, it wasn't even my wife's maiden name, but like one of the family names is Gardner. So like that was like, I got the girls with like little Gardner jerseys on. So that's fun. Yeah, man, it's expensive. It's like it's either 125 to like $175, depending on which kind of jersey you're getting. It's a heavy investment. Let's see. I saw some comments in here. I think I took a shot at Matt by accident, says Jimmy Jets. What I said, were you excited about the Axe? Is that what it was? Was it the Axe body spray? That's the only thing I can think of.
Maybe I was just gonna say that. Not that not that Axe was great, but just saying that like that was very nostalgic for the time when we were in middle school. I'm so glad that we have a better product like Mando now to replace that.
I'll tell you what though, that ad campaign that Axe came out with worked.
Oh yeah, dude.
Girls are jumping over the aisles to attack you.
Yeah, every prepubescent kid in middle school was just jacked up on like, I'm good. I smell so good. You got to do the
Where
Z's.
are they? Where are the girls?
Do a little spritz down below because you're a loser.
Middle school dance party. Everyone smelled like they sprayed their entire can of Axe body spray on themselves.
Yeah.
Oh God. Infrared says, "Can we spray Jet Life Field with Mando? Use the roll on. We're gonna sneak the cans in on our way in and just. I love it. What time? Okay, so at 9:30, we're gonna do a mock draft at 9:30. We'll do a little bit of our thoughts and whatnot. My cousin stunk of Axe.
Yep.
Oh man. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat of like random things people are saying. You can always get a Sherwin-Wood, and at least you'll know he'll be on the roster for a minute. Yeah, but
That's
like
right.
That's true. Guys that just sign a contract make you feel a little bit better. Whenever I see a 3-year deal, it's always I assume it's a 2-year deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
With a team option for that 3rd year. At least with a rookie, you're kind of tied in for a minimum of 4, with the potential of it being 5 with the 1st-round draft pick. I see some people say they bought a Becton jersey.
It's better just to buy like an Altoon, Wesley Walker.
Yeah.
You know, Darrell Revis. Like, it's better.
If they go back...
They're not going anywhere.
If they do like the... I might get it like a better Corbett jersey, because I was young when I got my Corbett jersey, so I don't have one that actually fits anymore. But if I could get like the throwback Wayne Corbett jersey, I would do that. You can't go wrong with legacy. I got a Mangold one. That's one of my favorites. Never going to go out of style.
Yeah, Mangold's never going out of style. Like, that's what I mean. Like, one of those guys.
Yeah.
I can't believe my Mo Lewis. People would say, oh, fucking boy. I'm like, I did. I almost got in a fist fight in the stadium over Mo Lewis. Fucking nobody knows. People don't recognize.
They don't?
Right, Infrared? People don't know.
Sodak says, it's clear this is 100% Glenn's team per comments. Yeah, like from the opening presser when Muji was like, I don't even know if he was asked a question. Maybe one question, and like every other question was directed at Aaron Glenn. Like, very clearly Glenn is pulling the shots and Muji's here to shop for the groceries. But like this feels very much like Glenn's team. Bean, any thoughts on this?
I love it. I agree, and I love it. Like, that's the way that it should be, in my opinion. Not to say that the head coach should be steamrolling the GM. There has to be a symbiosis, right? Like, so they have to work in concert, right? Like, remember we heard after the fact that Maccagnan and and Bowles, Maccagnan didn't let his scouts talk to the coaches because he didn't want the coaches to taint his scouts and their hard work. It's like a house divided against itself, right? So we need that symbiotic relationship between the front office, the personnel staff, and the head coach. But I think this should be Aaron Glenn's team. He should be the face. He should set the tone, and he should control the narratives and the messaging, in my opinion. And because, like, look, dude, he's a badass. And he was a badass since the day he got drafted by the New York Jets back in 1994. So, yeah, I like it. I agree with the statement. It's becoming more and more clear. And he's no nonsense, man. Straight up, he's like, look, dude, I don't really give a shit what you guys think about anything that we're doing. I like that. So I agree.
O'Leary, any thoughts on this being Glenn's team?
Yeah, I just think how he handles himself. Like we saw him speak, this week, and he's just very confident in the process, and he has a no nonsense attitude, and I think he is the face. And that's a little different because with Joe Douglas and Mike McCagnon, for right or wrong, it felt like they were the face of the organization from not talking players, but just like coaching, front office, all that stuff. Now it feels like Glenn is the guy, and Darren Muji, is paired with him. And not that Darren's role isn't important, it is, but as Greenbean was saying, more of a symbiosis between the two, and working together with the same vision.
JJ says Axe campaign was a throwback to High Karate. I had to look this up, and here is the ad from High Karate. This is from 1969. It even kind of looks like Axe almost.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God.
Right?
Hey, who's old like me? Doesn't that look like an ad you'd see in the 1980s Playboy?
This is 1969.
It brought me right to Playboy, dude. I'm like, I've seen that. It's a Playboy ad. You guys remember Playboy?
I've only read the articles, the stories.
Yeah, well, that's why. They're excellent articles.
I remember
You
finding
know what's funny?
a treasure
Like,
trove of
true.
those as a kid and just being wow.
Let me tell you this. So my grandfather in Nutley, New Jersey, he was famous for, we called him the Chief, and he had this garage. And any given morning, like if you were looking for the Chief, you went into the garage, right? And you'd walk past the Cadillac parked in the garage, and you'd walk along the side, and he had all these drawers and everything, and he'd be tinkering on this desk, all these little there was like just thousands of screws and tools and trinkets, and he was always tinkering with something. And I was probably 14, maybe 15 years old when he decided to say, hey, come here, I want to give you something. And he opened one of those drawers alongside, like in the walkway, that I've never ever opened. I have no idea what's in these drawers. And he opened it up, and it was like a dresser. It was like, big long drawer. And what was in there was every single Playboy from like 1972 to like 1990. Like every month. It was, dude, they were in pristine. He would like get them. I guess they got delivered. It was like a subscription. He'd get them. He would read them, read the articles, look at a boobie or two. He'd be reading, and every now and then he would do this, how they had the fold, and then he would put it in the thing. He was a very meticulous man. So he said, I think it's time that you have this. And I was like, wow. And dude, he gave, it's probably, I don't know, 100 of them, whatever it might be, but just a whole drawer beautifully stacked, every Playboy from like somewhere in the 70s all the way to like the 90s.
That's a
Get every one. Isn't that a gift?
They weren't in such pristine condition once Greenbean got them, though. I would imagine.
No. Did you guys ever ride your bikes in the woods? You guys ever ride your bikes in the woods?
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this.
Okay.
I know exactly.
They all looked like the pile of Playboys that was somewhere in the woods on the bike path. A lot of guys, this generation doesn't know what that is. But every town had the pile of nudie mags in the middle of the woods.
I remember.
They all looked like that after about, I don't know, a month.
Oh my God. My buddy moved into a new house recently, like within the last year or so. And he goes into the garage. I guess the old guy had passed away, and like just boxes and boxes of Playboys. And I was like, dude, like you probably need to look up some of the value of these at this point. Like they're probably pretty, like some of them might be worth something. And for my neck of the woods is where the old Playboy Club was up in Jersey. And,
Right.
They used to have a bar top that had all like the covers of all the, the magazines, everything. It's still like an art form to some degree. But man, I remember my dad didn't have Playboys. He had Penthouse. And I was like, wow.
Penthouse.
Found that drawer.
That was still classy.
That was classy.
But one step dirtier.
Yeah.
It wasn't all the way to Cherry and Hustler. But it was one step dirtier than the Playboy, but still classy like Playboy.
Jason, getting us back on track.
No, wait. You know where I saw my first Penthouse? Listen to this. So when I went to an elementary school in Barnegat, New Jersey.
Are you allowed within 500 feet of it? Is this where this story's going? I'm kidding.
No. But they this is the era. It's just weird. The first time I ever saw a Penthouse magazine, this is the era when they still put kids in the corner when you were bad. So they would put. I didn't have the dunce cap, but they put you in the corner, and they put you in this corner, and it was like a little magazine rack, and there was a Penthouse. I was in 2nd grade.
That seems.
I was just in the corner looking at the Penthouse. I shit you not. I was like, look at this. I like this.
I like time. I'm gonna be a bad boy.
Yeah. Oh, this boobies. This is what I want to do when I grow up. I want these.
Jason, trying to get us back on track, says, I'm getting Victor Green, Aaron Glenn, and John Abraham's jerseys this year. Plus another.
Oh, don't get Abraham, though. He's at a Falcon.
Yeah, I have a hard time with Abraham. He was so incredible for the brief time we had him, but like Aaron Glenn and Victor Green would be a cool throwbacks.
Aaron Glenn would be a great jersey, I think.
Glenn's the one that I would, if they do a throwback to Glenn, I would consider doing
They
it.
should.
I think they
so
will.
many people would wear that.
And I think they know that. The Jets marketing team's pretty dialed in. I would like to believe they'll hit us with something nice to get us all hyped up. Jake says, found Playboy in the sock drawer. I only had one and a tape above the entertainment system. My dad left, worshipped them. I mean, I remember, I think it was channel 80 on like the old like TVs that would like flicker and you'd see like half a boob and like maybe a butt cheek. You're like, I can't tell if it's a guy's butt cheek or a girl's butt cheek, but it's like the waves are, going crazy on the channel and you whack the side of the TV.
Yeah.
And
it took a long time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but
you know what it is. It took a long time during watching Spice on the Squiggly channel.
Oh, my God. I love where these conversations
Timing is everything.
Absolutely. 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐬𝐫 Lake says, Playboy, where you can get a laugh and a chubby. Yeah, it's about right.
Pretty much.
Called a lubby.
Scott says, 70s Bush. Sweet.
Oh, my God, Scott.
Coming back, au naturel, my friend.
Scott, please, buddy. Keep it a family program.
This is a family show. I can't believe you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Jake says, luckily I got the internet 6 years later. I got the PlayStation Portable. I figured out you can go on Wi-Fi with that. And I was in like, I don't know, 8th grade. Wow. There you go.
Boobies. 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 Boobies.
Welcome to Talking Jets. Jake says, it was a VHS tape. I can tell you the full plot. Did it happen to be Yankee Doodle? Because I got a story for you.
Yeah. Well done.
Oh, God. This is great. Robin Bird, my friends. Robin Bird. That's not a bad one either. Infrared, is Hefner still alive? I'm pretty sure Hefner died like a while ago. Didn't die like...
Oh, yeah, he's dead.
5 to 10
He
years
lived
ago?
a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Hugh Hefner lived so long and was so rich that the last 20 years of his life, he wore pajamas for 24 hours a day.
It's incredible.
He went to press me. He went everywhere he went. Fucking pajamas. Nobody cared. And a pipe. Pajamas and a pipe.
The best part.
Embodiment of what every guy like is like, wow.
Yeah.
This guy did
He was 89 years old and he married the Playboy centerfold of that month. He's like, he's like, we should all be so lucky. That guy did all right. He did all right.
Adirondack says, Abraham always shows love for his Jet days. I'll be honest, I haven't really watched him much.
Is he?
Last I saw, he was like pretty banged up, like in the head.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
lost a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure he had a lot of concussions at the tail end of his career, if memory serves.
Who's that? Yeah, no, you know what? There was that thing that came out. He had like a mental breakdown at an airport. Did you guys see that a couple years back?
I did not.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
It was like thinking people were after him, that kind of thing.
That's
public.
Let's see, what else are we going? Peter says, tonight's
Victor
theme,
Green's a
axe
good
and
one,
boobies. That's right. Damn right.
Mando
and boobies.
It was like 2006 right there. Prime time for that.
Yeah.
Swank Magazine. You grow up fast seeing that mag. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, once you go into that place, once you go past Hustler, you're in a crazy place. You know, you got you know what I mean? You grow up. And maybe you don't grow up the right way.
Yes.
You grow sideways.
I see what you did there. You're nasty. You're nasty. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of let's do a mock draft.
Yeah.
There we go. Boom. I hit the button. Whoop. I am way too zoomed in. Let's see if I can.
I don't see our pick. No.
Whoop. I have to play with the size. Whoop. I gotta pull over here. See, you know, this whole time we were talking about boobies, I could have been actually setting this up correctly. And that's all right.
Yeah, it's all right, man. You know, this is a no judgment free zone. This is Planet Fitness of Jets talk.
It's great. No judgment passed, my friends.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Let's see. After I just says
All right. So we're gonna do 7 rounds. We are going to select our Jets. We're gonna use. I'm gonna lean more towards the public. Care for positional value is gonna go a little bit higher. We're gonna do draft for needs a little bit lower. Randomness, I'm gonna go to the bottom. I'll go middle. Draft for needs. I think that's a solid start to this. All right. So no themes. Letting it rip. Boom. First chunk of picks. We got Cam Ward to the Titans.
How are we doing this?
Hunter to the Browns. Carter to the Giants. Graham to the Patriots. Campbell to the Jags. Genty to the Raiders, which means McMillan, Warren, Membu are all there for the Jets.
Oh, trade back. Somebody wants Sanders.
All right. Let's see. Who do we...
what happened? We're not talking about Shedeur Sanders at all anymore. What happened? We got bored? Or is he sliding?
I think we're going to wind up... I think he goes 3. I really do.
I was going to say that, Ryan. I have a really hard time seeing him get past the Giants. I really do.
And what a great place for him to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like it's either the Giants or the Raiders. It's one of those two. And like
Dable and Kafka with Russell Wilson and Winston. I think it's a great place for him to go.
My only thought is if they did want to punt on the quarterback for this year, the Giants, since Dable and Shane are both in a like red hot seat, maybe they don't want to commit to a quarterback that they might have to saddle the next regime with. That's the only thing I can think of. But Sanders just feels like such a good fit there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily going to deter someone, because we've had other quarterbacks go where like the coaching regime has changed 1 year in.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could see it. As far as trading down, basically every team wants to trade with us. If there's a pick you think we should slide down to, that seems realistic. Dallas at 12 wants to come up. I feel like that's always a pretty common one for us because we're not falling behind Indianapolis if we want to get Warren. But like literally every pick, like all the way back to 37, we could almost pick any team.
I wouldn't move past 12 in this one.
Right.
I'm good with anywhere up to 12, I think.
All right, so let's go 12. Let's say we got to give up 7 and 12, and we're going to get, let's see, 44 do it? 44 might do it.
We do 44? I'd be happy.
Hell yeah.
To pick.
All right, it's off for the trade.
Hell yeah.
Boom, accept. All right. So let's see. So Warren's off the board, McMillan's off the board, and Membu's off the board.
What'd they do,
we lost
son?
everyone that we were hoping to get.
Look at that. It was a worthwhile gamble, but they all left.
That sucks.
Even Green Beans guy, John Campbell, too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that would have been the sneaky.
Look at that.
Sneaky spot. You know, I think I might be leaning Matthew Golden, receiver out of Texas.
You know what's
Ibuka,
funny?
Either one.
That was our guy last night when we did a similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make this statement. Matthew Golden, while I like him, I would prefer both Luther Burden and 𝐒𝐿 𝐫𝐞𝐞 over him. If I'm going wide receiver right now, my choice is 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞. That's what I'm doing. I'm keeping the Ohio State theme going.
I would 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞 over Golden, but I would go 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞, Golden, and then Luther Burden in that order.
I'm good with 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞. I have no issues with that. I think my thought process with Golden was the speed factor. I could see them,
no doubt,
them liking that. But yeah, let's go 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐞. No issues there whatsoever. We'll flip this to over here. I guess we could see who went right in front of us. Xavier Watts went right in front of us. Beck goes in front of us. Tyleik Williams goes in front of us. Connerly. Emin Worry. A lot of players. This is where it starts getting a little dicey for me. Like I really, tackle or tight end is what would have been my preference. Now tackle is going to be a little tough. So we have pick 42 and then 44. So we got 2 picks back to back. We can really make some things happen here.
Take Jaden Higgins. Let's do it.
Just
Carson Schweschinger.
Double down on wide receiver. I'd probably like.
Yeah.
You think Schweschinger? Go linebacker?
Oh, I love him.
Oh, no.
I know, Matt. I was going to say, you got to ask Matt first.
Matt, what do you want to say?
Ursary, the tackle.
Yeah, Ursary's good.
Am I totally missing him? Where's he at?
Down.
Yeah, on their ratings, he's not,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Minnesota.
All right. Boom. Left tackle only. Any issues with that?
No. Not for me anyway. But I are there any other tackles or tight ends that make sense? I feel like we are going to screw ourselves if we wait too long on some of these positions. Yeah. That's my only fear. I understand. I understand the linebacker that's there is ranked a little bit higher. I'm just a little bit nervous about losing out on some of these guys listed here.
Trapillo's the guy that really I want to have.
Well, don't forget, guys, we got 42 and 44.
Yeah.
Right. So we can do some damage here. We get a tackle, you get a tight end here, and like we've done some really nice work on the offense if we do go that way. Or
if we want to do
sprinkle in a defense.
Yeah, either tackle or tight end, and then the linebacker or one of the linebackers that you like. Something like that, and then use the 3rd rounder on whichever one you don't take on the offensive side, maybe.
So you like Ursary. So you go with that?
I like Ursary too.
All right, so we'll go with.
I like Ursary too. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. The only problem is, like I said, going from left to right.
Yeah.
But also he's a little bit, like in Dom's words, he's stiff, right? He's a little stiff, and we're gonna be wanting him to start. So you got to know that there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but he's good, man. So I think that, by mid-season, he's starting to, lube up a little bit of those joints. He's getting into the flow.
Gonna throw.
I think it's a good pick.
Tight end, safety, linebacker. Any other positions we should be looking at 44? You think?
Tight end, safety, linebacker. Well, you could add defensive tackle. Again, we did so much work on it I don't know. I didn't see it coming because it's such a deep defensive tackle draft. But we brought in 3, and we have LT3 going into his 2nd year. But I think, defensive tackle is still a position. I just don't know if it'll be a 2nd round.
Let's go. We'll take D tackle off. I think linebacker should probably be on there. I do like a lot of linebackers at 73 and 110. I feel like you could get Harold Fannin Jr. a little bit later. That'd be cool. With
Schweschinger and Demetrius Knight are my guys in this area.
I like the linebacker picks because of the value right now.
Mm-hmm. But Mason Taylor, if you can get a Mason Taylor, I like Arroyo too. I do. And one of Dom's favorite guys, who I've learned to love, is Kevin Winston, the safety.
Yeah.
Strong safety.
He had an injury. Otherwise, he would be borderline 1st round pick, I think.
Yeah.
I'm cool with taking a gamble on a player like that. Siobhan Revel at corner is another one that's like an interesting pick. I don't know how much at corner I want to invest with Sauce coming down the pipeline.
Fair.
All right. Want to do Winston?
Yeah, sure. I think that's fun.
Why not?
And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's part of the changing of the guard. It's like, all right, man, we're going to actually say that safety's an important position for this regime. And like, so we got a nice free safety in Andre Cisco, and you go use a 2nd-round pick on Kevin Winston. You got Sauce, you got Brandon Stevenson, or whatever the fuck, Stevens. And you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, we put in some, you know what I mean? Some free agency, some draft capital. I like it.
What do we think? Mason Taylor here at 73?
Yeah, I think that's the move.
I don't want to wait too much longer on tight end at this point. I'm cool with double dipping at tight end. We'll make that selection.
Yeah, Mason Taylor is going to be, I think he's going to develop. He's going to come in and be able to give you, receiving impact right away. But I think he's going to develop into a really upper tier tight end in the league in a couple years. I think he's going to be great.
Jamari Caldwell is still on the board here. Aeneas Peebles. Jeffrey Bassa.
Yeah, Bassa's good. Why don't you know what you could do too? You
Gelati.
could say, we're getting our tight ends. We're going to be tight end heavy. We know our quarterback loves him, and we're bringing in Mason Taylor and Harold Fannin right out of the rip.
I love Harold Fannin. Like I have no problem taking him in every draft. I would totally do it if you want to do that. What do you think? Do we double dip at tight end, or are we going another position, Matt?
I might wait on tight end. I'm not opposed to.
I'm just saying.
I'm not opposed to taking another one, but I'm thinking either one of. I don't know if one of Green Bean's linebackers are still hanging around, or maybe
Bassa
or a defensive lineman.
Let's go. We got Jamari. It would probably be Jamari Caldwell, Peebles, or Bassa.
Grab Jamari Caldwell, man.
Boom.
Peebles, or I'd be delighted with either one. You know who do we get? Deion Walker last night, and we talked about him quite a bit, about his injury kind of pushing him down the board, but he's like, he really kind of has that first, 2nd round pedigree, and so you're getting kind of a little bit of a steal here for a guy like even later. But anyway, I love Jamari Caldwell. I think that's a fantastic pick.
I see Dom in the chat. Dom's big on edge rusher. I think edge is going to be a major problem for us. It sucks because we
got Clemens.
I know. We're so excited. What
And
kills
that
me
other
is we
guy,
just spent the 1st round pick
Another
on Will
guy.
McDonald, and like he may not fit. Like that sucks.
Why? Why wouldn't he fit?
Well, because I was talking with Dom, and he's like, well, if we're going from the wide 9 to this, like, does he wind up being a stand-up linebacker, or does he like still fit on the edge in some capacity, or is he too small, weight-wise? I don't know.
Line him up on the outside of the tackle and just let him spin, move him into oblivion.
That's right. Right.
Just keep it happening. All right, I like it. What are we feeling in the 5th round? We got 2 5ths, 2 6ths to round out here. Any position groups you guys like? I know tight end in this next little stretch is a nice little double dip here, I think. Interior O-line is another one I like. Because that guard's going to sneak up on us. We mentioned AVT and Simpson being an issue. Where's tight end? Tight end.
I'll tell you what, though. This draft is fucking banging.
So far, so good. I love this.
I'd be all right. I'm really sad that we traded down and we didn't get any of the guys we wanted. I was hoping for like one of those guys.
Yeah.
That's what happens. If we get an extra second and get Ibuka in the first, like, I will not have an issue with that.
Nope. I'm totally fine with it.
Tyler Barron.
I love Jackson Hawes.
It's Membu or Ibuka and Kevin Winston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Or you could say Ursary. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
if we're looking at edge rusher, Tyler Barron's the top one right now. 260 at 6'5". 10 sacks last year, 6 the year before that. Has been healthy basically all 3 years. High grades. If we go interior O-line, Kandra is the top guy. Right guard out of Cincinnati. Got Jackson Hawes, as Matt was mentioning. He's been a popular second tight end to add to the bunch.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan. I like what he does, but I like my guys to be able to do. I like, I don't like designated one or the other. It's like Stone Smart. Like he's a pass catching tight end. He's not going to give you dick burgers in the blocking game. I just don't like that,
Miles Frazier is one of Dom's loves.
Yeah, he loves him.
He's a good player.
I don't know. Where we want to go?
What else we got? So what? All right, let's go interior line. We
interior O line. All right, we'll go that.
Yeah, I think Because look, man, the truth is we're in the 5th round, right? You got 2 fifths. We're in the 5th round, and injuries are a very real thing. You know what I mean? Having a guy, and we have 2 guys on the last year of their contract. So it's good for the pipeline. 5th round, you're not looking for guys. You're not really betting on guys being your starters right here. These are guys you're like, okay, I want to get this guy in my clubhouse and I want to start working on him. And then in the event there is an injury, you got a little bit better shot than these undrafted free agent types that just keep floating around the New York Jets. And that's who we end up seeing play toward the end of the season. It's crazy. We do it every year.
Monheim's been a popular grab in some of our mocks. Left tackle experience, center experience, right guard experience, right tackle experience, just an all-around O-line, and has basically played in every game throughout his career. He's given up 2 sacks total in 3 years. I think that's a fun one.
Yeah. I mean, who's your guy here, Matt? Who do you got?
On the interior offensive line, I like Miles Frazier, but he's really further down here for some reason, right? Doesn't PFF have him ranked much lower?
Much lower. I'm cool with taking him here as if we feel like that's where he would go to keep it a little more realistic.
There's going to be there's going to be a FU to the simulator kind of.
Yeah, they're gonna give us a big old F for this pick probably, but that's all right.
Yeah, screw them.
Boom, Frazier it is. All right.
Miles Frazier coming aboard.
Kobe King. We still don't have a linebacker. King's been a popular one.
Who do we got? Who do we got?
He's got a lot of missed tackles. You want me to look at linebacker specifically, or
sure,
just
and let's look at some wide receivers.
Top names.
Yeah, let's look at some wide receivers too. There's an interest. I mean, look, my guy's Nick Nash, as you know. I'm not going to lobby for him, but there's a few other guys. If we look at linebackers, wide receivers, we don't have much. I know we signed a couple guys, but and what's this Lazard staying stuff, right? I told you guys.
Come on.
I think if they can get him to sign for a lower amount, they'd be open to it because I think they are going to lean on his blocking skills to some degree because I think they plan on using the tight end and Garrett Wilson more in the passing game than highlighting Lazard. But I think they're planning on cutting him after June 1st anyway, if he does not restructure. That would be my guess. Top wide receivers, Nick Nash, Jalen Lane, Ty Felton.
I like Ty. I love Nick Nash. Dom's not as high on Nick Nash as I am. I think Nick Nash is going to be this year's late round pick that ends up having a bigger impact than people. Hey, how did so many teams pass on this guy? That's what I think is going to happen with Nick Nash. But Ty Felton I like, but again, both of them are kind of redundant. So looking for that. And I don't know if the Jets are going to want to do this, but looking for that quicker middle of the field guy.
I think we're going to need to do that at some point. I think we're going to need a burner because we don't really have that on the roster. You think Nash would be that guy for you?
No, he's not that. I'm just saying so maybe if you scroll down, let's see what else we got here.
Oh, I know how Green Bean feels about Donta Thornton.
Oh, yeah, Thornton, but he's another one. He's big. He's a fucking burner, though, man. He's a deep threat, but he's big. He's 6'5". Wow. He's big.
I like big. Fan of
big. He's super fast, man. I like to say, remember when, like Brad Smith would get going. Like he wasn't quick, but
Yeah.
once he got a little bit of open space, it was
Long
like
strides.
a deer, that long stride. Dante Thornton looks just like that. He's got good hands, good contested catch. But yeah, I really like him. Deep threat. He's Mike Williams.
Jake says there's so many deep positions in this draft, not normal ones. It's depth that won't get you wet. Maybe just be smart one time. Just fill it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good approach too. Like getting a lot of really good depth players in these spots. Like we have a lot, like literally from the second round on, safety, tight end, D line, or like interior defensive lineman, guard. Like these are all kind of like round out the roster type selections.
Yeah. And you need it. Like at some point, like Jake's saying, like if the draft is giving you that, it's like it's not sexy, like he said in a different way. It's not sexy, but you just kind of commit to putting the cinder blocks down in your foundation. Like it pays dividends. Like you need that stuff. And it's a draft that kind of offers a lot of that. If we're here, my picks on this one are going to be Stutzman or Thornton. So linebacker, I'm all Danny Stutzman. And if you wanted to double dip at receiver, I'm Dante Thornton.
Let's go with the linebacker first. I'm cool with Stutzman.
Like that.
I could roll with that. I was looking at Cody Simon too. He's got some pretty good grades. I don't know anything about the linebackers this late. I'll be honest.
I'm going to default to Bean on the linebacker here. If
I think
that's
that's
his
fair.
guy, I say we roll with it.
Yeah, I like this guy.
Boom, Stutzman it is. All right, now we're sitting the final two picks. I think Dante Thornton is still there. You want that to be the receiver pick, Bean?
What? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm down.
Matt, any other?
Nobody's talking about him either. It's great. Like I feel like he's one of those guys you could just kind of. I know, he's just not on our not in our, in our world. But I think I would love it if the Jets like in the 5th round come away with Dante Thornton. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, finally.
What do we want to do? I mean, do we want to not go kicker, or do we want to just keep it strong and always take the kicker like the final pick of our drafts? Because like I'm on the green bean line of thought here. I have no issues going with a drafted kicker late in the draft.
Yeah, and it's not like you got to do it every year. Like the detractors, Dom C. Lee, the pack leader. Like I get it, but it's like you're talking about one 6th round pick. And theoretically, you don't have to think about it for 10 years. Like, why wait and like try to lobby with the other teams, and fight for these guys in undrafted free agency? It's like, we could get them in undrafted free agency. Well, there's no guarantee of that.
Yeah, you lock them in 4 years.
They go anywhere they want.
Yeah. All right, Fitzgerald it is. Talked ourselves
Yeah.
out.
Like I said, it's a way to take your a 6th round pick and guarantee impact.
Yeah, see, it doesn't like our Winston.
All these other
pick.
guys,
Winston, they have Winston rated a lot lower. Winston, I think his grade was somewhere beyond like 73 in terms of power ranking. That's why they don't like us taking him at 44. Same thing with Frazier. Frazier, they had it like 200 and something. But we feel he's going to go higher than that. So Pro Football Focus, we disagree with your C grade that it gave us. Sorry. Can't see it there.
Yeah, as our coach just said this week, grades don't mean shit in the off season. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but they don't mean anything. The results matter.
I think this is definitely a round out the roster type draft too. Like,
yeah, I love this draft.
Like plug in a lot of pieces.
If this is what it looked like, I would lose my marbles.
You feel good. Feel pretty happy. Like you got some players at positions of need, and like I think you got starters too. Like I think your top 5 picks are basically all starters, with Frazier potentially starting next year.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you guys break down the Zerline contract recently?
I did not. We can take a look at it real quick.
Oh my God, it's disgusting.
Thank you, Joe Douglas.
It's absolutely. You could tell like this last year, Joe Douglas
off a cliff. Like
No, but look at the void years. You had 75 void years for your kicker.
Yeah, but his void
it's
years
ridiculous.
We had a 2-year window. You were going to pay the piper after. The plan was going to be pay the piper in 2026.
That's what it was.
Like that was,
and we all supported it.
Yeah, and I'm on board with doing it. And like I don't think any of us expected the wheels to fall off the way they did this year after the first year of things going wrong. So like it just sucks, right? Like the contract does blow for Zuerlein. He's got no guaranteed money, but like it's gonna hurt to like cut him. I think did we lose money on
Look
the
at
cut?
all the dead cap for this guy, like a kicker.
It would be a $2 million dead cap. It'd basically be a wash. We'd save $100,000 on a cut if we do it, but that's pre-June 1st, so it's probably gonna be post-June 1st at this point. So you save $4 million post.
We don't have any more post-June 1st.
Wait, do you not get the benefit if you cut him after June 1st?
I guess that's just to designate, right? You can only do
I think you can only designate two, but I think you can
right.
keep. I think you get the
No,
same
you're right.
ramifications. Or do we just go into a season and say like we hope he kicks well? I mean, he's 38 though; he's old.
But like, look, we're gonna have dead cap from this guy in 2028.
No, we won't. Because that accelerates when you cut him. That's what creates the dead cap right now. Like
June 1st.
You'd be $2 million. So it'd be the 2025 prorated signing bonus. So like basically this. Let's see if can I do this and highlight it? This. It's like this whole column here is what you'd be stacking up. So it's really 578,000 times 4 is the dead cap hit, because the $4 million is base salary that he's not going to collect because it's not guaranteed. So if you were to keep him on for 2025, then your dead cap hit in the future would be that 1,700,000 in 2026. So you won't have anything beyond that. I don't think they keep him though.
No, you can't, dude. And that's my thoughts. Dude, he fell off a cliff. Thankfully,
sucks.
right when we got to go watch him. The team plays dog shit all game, and we still had an opportunity to win it at the end. We're like, yay, Greg the leg, and he shanks it.
Ugh. And that was the beginning of the end, too. It was like that game, he missed, was it 2 kicks?
The Vikings game the week before, too.
Vikings game was the week after.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And then we had the Steelers game.
Yeah, so that was it. So that was the one. That was when it happened. Dude, who didn't think Greg the Leg was making that kick in the Broncos game?
Yeah, we're like, oh, it's terrible weather. He's got it. Now, my thought was that game wasn't on him because Rodgers couldn't punch it in from a yard out. Like, that was sort of the stance I took on that. But I didn't think he'd fall off the wagon the way he did. I don't know.
It was bad.
It was not good. Makes me cry on the inside. Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our show. So we get to pick some qualifiers. We have qualifiers for our giveaway. Green Bean, how many we got?
Let's see. Let me do one more little refresh here, because for whatever reason, this is the only stream. Every week it does it. Like when I'm doing like my own streams, like YouTube refreshes the likes. This stream, it doesn't do it. I don't know why that is.
That's weird.
All right, I can add one more qualifier. Let's see who it is, and that'll, for your purposes, Ryan, that'll give us 30. So let's see who the final qualifier for the baggage claim is, and the winner is
Green
Bean. All right, hold on, I'll do it again with much fanfare. Okay, let's do it again. Here we go. Matt O'Leary,
Eddie McGuire.
Eddie McGuire. There he goes. All right. You are now qualified. So we got an even 30 tonight, Ryan.
All right. So we're going to do the third time through on the generate button. 1, 2, and this is going to be our winner. Number 12. Who's number 12, Green Bean?
Sorry, number 12. That would be Peter S., who's already got everything.
I think Peter S. won like everything already. I think Peter's in the chat. I'm almost 95% sure. I think he said as long as he doesn't win the jersey, he would give it up. So maybe we spin for Peter. If he gets the jersey, he gets it. And then if he doesn't get the jersey, we'll pick the next generate. How about we do that? Peter, if you're in the chat, let us know if that is sufficient.
Peter here? Let me see.
He is. Yeah, I see him in there.
Yeah, he's still here.
I'm pretty sure. Yes, you can give it up if I don't win. Perfect. Okay. So
okay, there you go.
Spin
Peter's
the wheel.
a good guy.
He gets
a good
the jersey.
guy. Well,
He gets
you know,
Peter.
yeah, look at Pete. I'll tell you.
It's a shirt. So someone's getting a shirt. I'm going to hit generate one more time, and that's going to be our shirt winner, courtesy of Peter in the chat. Number 25. Who's 25?
Peter S. No, I'm just kidding. 25 is the one and only Jason Edwards, everybody.
Woo!
Oh,
Jason Edwards gets himself a shirt.
Courtesy of Peter S. from the Hudson Valley, Jay.
Good stuff. Jason, reach out to us. We'll get your shipping info again. I'm sure we have it.
Oh,
but
he's
just,
not here.
Well, when you hear this, because you'll be here at some point. He was in and out throughout the chat. So yeah, Jason, reach out to us. Let us know what shirt you want from the store, and we'll get it sent out to you. Thank you so much for paying. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Boys and girls, we have reached the end of our show. Bean, any last thoughts?
Yeah, another fun night. I love being here with everybody. We're gonna switch gears and go to the after hours show over at Green Bean Jets Fan in about 30 minutes from now. We'll start the after hours show. So come hang out. If you're not done talking Jets and boobs, let's do it.
O'Leary, what are you up to today?
What a program. New episode of Just Jets tomorrow. I'll be on with Jeremy Thursday afternoon on this channel, so come hang out for that. And be well, Jets fans.
I see Jason Edwards in the chats. He heard us. So, yeah, Jason, reach out to us. You got a shirt courtesy of Peter S. from the Hudson Valley. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. If you enjoy the banter and ridiculousness of this show, just wait till day 3 of the draft. We really go off the rails. We get slap happy. We've been streaming for like 20 hours straight at that point. It is a lot of fun. So we look forward to having you guys here. And thank you guys so much for choosing to spend your time with us on a lovely Tuesday night. This is Talkin' Jets signing off. JETS.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw Green Bean. Damn it. But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing something.
Go Jets.
And that's the other part of this, is people are insanely jealous of this show. This show gets the best of the best, and it does a different way, with positivity.
He scores!
Ow, my head! No, come on.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls. Freeze frame.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.